Right now, beneath the Indian Ocean, a silent war is being fought, and one country has turned the ocean floor into a graveyard for the world's most advanced submarines. If you think you know who controls the seas, this will shatter everything you believed. India has deployed something that makes China's $6 billion Type 093 submarines and America's $3.4 billion Virginia-class subs nearly obsolete in the Indian Ocean. And I'm not exaggerating. But before we dive in, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button and leave a comment. I subscribe. And I'll personally welcome you into the family. With that said, let's get started. Let me take you back to 2019. Bay of Bengal. Commander Rajesh Menon is aboard an Indian P-8I Poseidon patrol aircraft. His crew picks up a faint acoustic signature, a Chinese submarine trying to trail an Indian aircraft carrier. Within 18 minutes, that submarine is forced to surface and retreat. 18 minutes. A $6 billion warship compromised. Here's what most people don't know. According to the U.S. Naval Institute's 2023 report, India's anti-submarine warfare network detected 94% of foreign submarine incursions in its waters. That's higher than NATO's success rate in the Mediterranean. But this isn't just about one detection. India built an underwater web that's changing the entire game. And to understand how powerful this really is, you need to know what's actually down there. Imagine an ocean floor covered in invisible sensors that can hear a submarine's heartbeat from 1,000 kilometers away. That's what India's deployed. A network modeled after the US's Cold War-era SOSA system, but upgraded, spread across the Indian Ocean, and positioned exactly where it hurts most, the China-Pakistan submarine corridor. Here's what it looks like. Seabed sensors that pick up acoustic signatures. Autonomous underwater drones that patrol choke points. And 8 P-8I Poseidon aircraft, more than any country except the United States, flying constant patrols. Every propeller turn, every hull vibration, every machinery hum, captured, cataloged, hunted. A 2022 declassified Pentagon assessment showed India tracked 23 Chinese submarine deployments in 2021 alone. China thought 19 of them were undetected. They were wrong. Now let me break down exactly how this system works, because it's more sophisticated than most people realize. The first layer is the seabed sensor network. These are hydrophones, underwater microphones, that sit on the ocean floor in a grid pattern. They're connected by fiber optic cables that send data back to mainland India in real time. The sensors are positioned along underwater ridges and valleys where sound naturally channels and amplifies. The second layer is the autonomous underwater vehicles. These aren't your average drones. They can stay submerged for months, patrolling specific zones without human intervention. They're equipped with advanced sonar and can distinguish between a whale, a cargo ship, and a military submarine based on acoustic signatures alone. The third layer is satellite surveillance. India launched a series of military satellites between 2018 and 2023 that can detect submarine periscope masts and changes in ocean temperature that indicate a submarine's passage. And the fourth layer? Human intelligence. India has naval attaches and intelligence officers stationed at every major port in the Indian Ocean region. They track when submarines leave port, how long they're gone, and where they surface. It's a four-dimensional chess game. And India's winning. But China isn't the only one sweating. Even the US Navy, the world's most powerful, has admitted they need India more than India needs them. Malabar exercise. A US Virginia-class submarine participates in a mock hunt. India's Navy locates it in under 4 hours using their layered ASW system. A US Navy commander, speaking anonymously to the diplomat, called it humbling. But here's where it gets interesting. That exercise wasn't just about bragging rights. It was a wake-up call. The US Navy has operated with relative impunity in global waters for decades. American submarines are the gold standard, quiet, fast, deadly. And India found one in 4 hours. Now multiply that by every potential conflict scenario in the Indo-Pacific. Every Chinese submarine that tries to break into the Pacific has to pass through waters India monitors. Every US submarine that wants to operate near the South China Sea benefits from Indian intelligence. Here's why America's worried. India controls the choke point, the Strait of Malacca. 80% of China's oil passes through it. In any Pacific conflict, the US needs India to lock the back door on Chinese submarines. But here's the problem. India plays by its own rules. They refuse to join AUKUS. They won't take direct orders. They buy weapons from Russia, oil from Iran, and conduct joint exercises with both Moscow and Washington in the same month. Rand Corporation's 2024 study put it bluntly, India's strategic autonomy makes it an unreliable formal ally but an indispensable informal partner in the Indo-Pacific. Translation? America needs India, but America can't control India. Let me give you another example of just how independent India is. In 2022, during the peak of the Ukraine war, the US put heavy pressure on India to stop buying Russian oil. India's response? They increased their Russian oil imports by 400%. Not 40%. 400%. At the same time, India was hosting joint military exercises with the US Navy in the Bay of Bengal. The US was training Indian pilots on American F-16 tactics while India was buying Russian S-400 missile systems. This isn't contradiction. This is strategy. India realized something both China and America are still struggling to accept. In the 21st century, you don't need to pick a side. You need to make both sides need you. So how did India, a country that was importing basic military tech 20 years ago, build this nightmare? 3 decisions. 3 decades. 1 masterstroke. Decision 1. Late 1990s. After the Kargil War, India realized it had zero submarine detection capability. Pakistan was using French submarines to threaten Indian naval assets, and India had no way to track them. They started Project Seabird, a $4 billion naval base designed specifically for anti-submarine warfare operations. Not defense. Hunting. But they didn't just build a base. They built an ecosystem. Training facilities for ASW specialists. Deepwater testing ranges. Weapons development labs. By 2005, India had the infrastructure to develop and deploy ASW technology independently. Decision 2, 2013. India leased a Russian nuclear submarine, the Chakra. But they didn't just operate it, they used it to train an entire generation of Indian submariners on how to hunt other subs. Naval warfare experts call this learning by being the prey. For 2 years, Indian naval officers lived aboard that submarine. They learned how it moved, how it hid, how it attacked. They studied its weaknesses. And then they used that knowledge to build systems specifically designed to exploit those weaknesses in other submarines. By 2015, India had trained over 400 submariners who understood nuclear submarine operations from the inside out. That's more trained nuclear submarine personnel than France or the UK had at the time. Decision 3, 2015 to present. India partnered with the US on intelligence sharing but kept indigenous control. They bought 12 Poseidon aircraft, co-developed sonar tech with Israel, deployed indigenous Varuna anti-submarine torpedoes. But here's the genius move. India didn't just buy American technology. They bought the license to modify it. Those Poseidon aircraft? They're equipped with Indian-made sonar buoys and sensors that are calibrated specifically for Indian Ocean conditions. The Americans provided the platform. India provided the brain. Think of it like this. China built expensive invisible armor. America built better armor. India? India built a system that makes invisibility useless. Jane's Defense Weekly, in 2024, ranked India's ASW capability as number 3 globally, behind only the US and UK. But here's the kicker. India is ranked number 1 in operational deployment density in a single theater. What does that mean? It means that while America has better technology spread across the entire world, India has concentrated all of its capability in one region. And in that region, they're untouchable. But there's a darker side to this power that almost nobody's talking about. India now holds a knife to the throat of global trade. And it's not afraid to use it. Here are the numbers. 90% of global trade moves by sea. The Indian Ocean carries 80% of the world's maritime oil trade. India can, in theory, choke off China's energy supply in 72 hours if a conflict erupts. And they've already shown they're willing to flex that muscle. Doklam standoff. India and China face off over a border dispute in the Himalayas. Soldiers are eyeball to eyeball at 14,000 feet altitude. The world's watching the land border. But behind the scenes, the Indian Navy quietly moved 6 warships into the Malacca Strait. Chinese state media called it economic blackmail. India never commented. That same week, India conducted live-fire anti-submarine exercises in the Andaman Sea, right along China's primary shipping route. The message was clear: if you push us on land, we'll choke you at sea. China backed down within weeks. Here's why this terrifies both superpowers. China can't project power into the Indian Ocean without being tracked. Every submarine they deploy is logged. Every naval exercise they conduct is monitored. China spent billions building a blue water navy, but in the Indian Ocean, they're operating blind. America can't control India's decisions. India refused to condemn Russia over Ukraine. Buys Iranian oil despite US sanctions. Conducts military drills with Russia while hosting US Navy exercises. In 2023, India conducted joint naval exercises with Russia in the Arabian Sea while simultaneously hosting US Navy drills in the Bay of Bengal. Same month. Same ocean. 2 rival superpowers. Wait, whose side is India on? Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, 2024. India is writing a new playbook, aligned with no one, indispensable to everyone. And that playbook is working. In 2024, India became the only country in the world conducting military exercises with the United States, Russia, France, Japan, Australia, and several Southeast Asian nations. All in the same year. They're not playing both sides. They're creating a third side. So what happens next? Because the game just changed again. China isn't sitting still. And what they're building could turn the Indian Ocean into a war zone. China's response is massive. They're expanding their submarine base in Hainan Island, now home to 6 nuclear attack subs and 20 conventional submarines. They're developing ultra-quiet Type 095 submarines, expected to deploy in 2025 or 2026, with noise levels comparable to American Virginia-class subs. And they're building the String of Pearls, a series of ports and military installations stretching from mainland China to the Horn of Africa. Ports in Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Bangladesh, Maldives, and Djibouti, all positioned to encircle India. This isn't just about military presence. These ports give China the ability to refuel and resupply submarines without returning to home waters. A submarine that used to have a 60-day operational range can now stay deployed for 90 days or more. In early 2024, a Chinese research vessel, suspected spy ship, was caught mapping the Indian Ocean floor near India's Andaman Islands. These research vessels are equipped with advanced sonar that maps underwater topography, identifies ideal submarine hiding spots, and locates enemy sensors. India expelled it within 12 hours. China protested to the UN. India ignored it. But here's what most analysts miss. India isn't just detecting submarines anymore. They're building autonomous underwater drones that can attack them. The Autonomous Underwater Weapon System was quietly tested in 2023. These aren't torpedoes. They're AI-powered hunter-killers that can patrol an area for months, identify enemy submarines, and engage without human authorization. Think about that. A weapon system that decides on its own when to kill. The Center for Strategic and International Studies warns that an ASW arms race in the Indian Ocean could lead to accidental conflict. One misidentified submarine could trigger a regional war. And they're right to be worried. In March 2024, an Indian autonomous drone reportedly got within 500 meters of a Chinese submarine before Indian Naval Command recalled it. The incident was never officially confirmed. But 3 separate defense analysts reported it based on leaked naval communications. 500 meters. In submarine warfare, that's point-blank range. Now here's where it gets really dangerous. Both China and Pakistan are developing similar systems. Pakistan, with Chinese assistance, is building underwater sensor networks along its coast. They're trying to do to India what India did to China, create a detection web that makes naval dominance impossible. And if you think this is just military drama, think again. Because this affects your life, your phone, your car, your electricity bill. They're all connected to what's happening under the Indian Ocean right now. 70% of global semiconductor shipping routes pass through the Indian Ocean. Oil prices spiked 8% in 2023 when just one submarine incident was reported near the Strait of Hormuz. If India-China tensions escalate, shipping insurance rates could double overnight, meaning everything you buy gets more expensive. That $1,200 iPhone could become $1,500. That $40 tank of gas? Try $60. That $300 monthly grocery bill? Try $425. Because the real war isn't fought on land anymore. It's fought in silence, 300 meters below the surface. And the casualties aren't soldiers. They're supply chains. Let me give you a real-world example. In 2021, the Ever Given container ship blocked the Suez Canal for 6 days. Just 6 days. Global trade lost an estimated $10 billion per day. Now imagine the Strait of Malacca, which handles 3 times the traffic, closed due to a naval conflict. The global economy would collapse within weeks. And here's the terrifying part. India, China, and America all know this. Which means they're all gambling that the other side will blink first. That's not strategy. That's a game of chicken with the global economy as collateral. The only way this gets resolved? Diplomacy. Multilateral agreements. Demilitarized zones. But right now, none of the players want to talk. They're too busy building bigger toys. India's constructing its second nuclear submarine base in Tamil Nadu. China's launched 4 new submarines in 2024 alone. And America just announced a $12 billion expansion of its Pacific submarine fleet. So here's the question you need to ask. If you had to choose, would you rather have India as an ally who doesn't follow orders, or an enemy who controls the ocean? Because America and China are asking themselves that same question right now. And the answer could reshape the next 50 years of global power. Drop your answer in the comments. And if you think I missed something, tell me. This story's still being written. Submarines are being deployed as we speak. Sensors are being installed. Alliances are being tested. And if you want to understand the wars that aren't on the news yet, you know what to do. Because the next time you hear about a training exercise in the Indian Ocean, just remember, nothing about it is practice.